Statistics have shown that 1 in 10 people have had some form of an out-of-body experience in their life. Whether it's a result of a near-death experience, transcendental meditation, psychedelics, seizures in the temporal lobe of the brain, or astral projection, the results are the same. Okay, your consciousness leaves your body, hence the phrase out-of-body experience, or OBE for short. And for those who experience this phenomenon, it can be either terrifying or beautiful or exhilarating or all of that. And it's like that to them because to them, it's 100% real, which begs the question, why do they think it's 100% real? Well, speaking from experience, I can tell you that you can't really mistake something like that. It's like your consciousness is either inside of your body or it's not. But that begs the question, for those who've never experienced this, how do you know if your consciousness is outside of your body? Very simple answer to that. You float. Okay, you float up and away from your body. And it's not something that's inferred or implied. You literally can look down and see your physical body below you. Now, I don't know what planet that you come from, okay? But here on Earth, the only mammals that can fly are bats. Not humans, not any of the great apes, okay? No apes at all, okay? And you can throw like gliding squirrels and sugar gliders at me and all that stuff, y'all. They glide on air. They do not float, okay? There are absolutely zero animals that weigh more than air that can float on it, okay? Zero. But even if they could, the floating part is not even the most impressive thing here. If you're wowed by that, you're not paying attention. The most impressive part of this whole ordeal, for me at least, is that these people who claim to have these out-of-body experiences, they have experienced experience itself outside of themselves, okay? Outside of the container where experience supposedly originates. Outside and away from your eyes, your ears, and your brain, your consciousness somehow can still see, hear, and experience. And this may sound like BS fairy tale nonsense here, but just remember those numbers. 1 in 10 people. Okay, there have been 100 billion people who have ever lived on this planet. And so using that ratio, that means 10 billion of those people have experienced this BS fairy tale nonsense. Okay, 10 billion people. Again, using that ratio, if you know at least 10 people, one of them have experienced this, okay? Heck, it's probably even you. And these are normal people, okay? Maybe not all of them, but a smattering of people covering the full spectrum, okay? It's your coworker, it's your 5th grade teacher, it's your wife, your tax accountant, or in my case, a good friend. All right, this is getting stuff ready to go. So about a year ago, I'm chilling out with my best friend on his back porch. We're drinking beers, and I'm telling him about my latest astral projection experience. Got to get all my podcast equipment. I got my cloud lifter here. Anyway, his wife, who is also a really close friend, overhears this and mentions that she herself has had some similar experiences.
We are going to go interview my friend.
I didn't know this, of course,
who I've known for almost 20 years now.
And almost immediately I was like, I gotta interview you.
She has astral projection experience, and so I am going to go interview her.
And so I went to their house with all my recording equipment. So we're just getting equipment right now. They know me quite well, so I was able to just kind of let myself in. I said hello to their dogs.
Hey, Cordelia, you remember me? Y'all remember me.
There was a little bit of a little happy accident there.
Oh, buddy, you peed. And now he's licking it. Well, at least he's cleaning up his own mess.
My friend came home. We said hi.
Hi, guys.
We did a quick little sound check.
Start talking about your day and just like talk in different volumes just to see how.
It's been an exciting day today. We had several children screaming, and then he put them in the car and took them away.
And after a quick little briefing on anonymity and pseudonyms,
any names we use, we'll use synonyms.
Cool.
We were more or less off to the races.
So let's talk about, we're here to talk today about something that you've only mentioned to me like in passing, like maybe once or twice.
Yeah, you're right. And I think I'd had a few drinks.
And so my friend's story is basically She is what you would call a heavy dreamer.
Yes.
Okay.
Huge dreamer.
Okay, well, whether it's regular dreams,
Have you ever had any lucid dreams?
Yes.
lucid dreams, the ones where you know you're dreaming and you can control the dream in magical ways, she's a dream veteran.
I've always been interested in dreams.
She even started a dream journal at an early age.
Always remember had dream journals,
But as she got a little older,
and I was probably 19.
before she even had any idea what was happening to her, something different started happening.
So I was in Paris on an exchange program. And our professor that was hosting us there took us all over the city that day, like walking around gardens. He took us to every garden he could find. The first 5 times we were like, this is great. After 10, we were like, can we go back to the hotel?
Yep.
And so we were physically exhausted once we got back to the hotel. Like we'd run a marathon. And I laid down to take a nap before dinner, and as I was starting to fall asleep, my whole body was just like vibrating. But it was comfortable.
And real quick, just jumping in here, what my friend is describing here is a well-known and documented precursor to astral projection known as the vibrational state. It's a state of consciousness as you approach sleep in which, if your mind is alert enough, you will feel, see, and hear what is called astral energy.
Could you hear static or like a bzzz?
Yeah.
And it's the harnessing and focusing of this energy that allows for an out-of-body experience.
Or almost like a ringing in your ears, but in a pleasant way. I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm so tired. And as I was laying there, it felt like my laying down body started floating above my regular body. Not much, just maybe like 6 inches,
Yeah.
just right above it. And I remember thinking, I feel so much better.
Huh.
Like my physical body was so worn out
Yeah.
that I finally was like comfortable and feeling relaxed, and my muscles didn't hurt anymore, and I was for sure asleep.
Yeah.
But at the time, I remember thinking like, I don't know what's happening, but this feels good, so I'm just gonna go with it.
Huh.
And I slept the whole time. My whole nap was in that state.
Wow.
I remember being kind of cognizant about what was going on around me, but still feeling like I was asleep.
Could you see anything? Like,
I mean, just the room.
okay, so
But the room looked normal.
And so even though this was amazing, uncharted territory for my friend, she ultimately chalked the experience up to being just a different kind of lucid dream. No biggie, case closed. That is until a few years later when a similar experience took it to the next level.
I was in college. I had actually just graduated, and I was at a theater festival. So I was at a hotel, which I think is
Okay.
important because I was out of my normal routine. But anyway, I was in a hotel room staying by myself. I checked myself in. And what's odd about this one is I don't even remember deciding to take a nap. But I guess I did. I lay
Okay.
down on the bed or something. And the next thing I remembered was floating, kind of like almost like you're in space. Definitely felt a little bit of like the buzzing, like energy. Like I don't,
Yeah.
that's the only way I can explain it, is like you're like a little light switch. You're a little electrical switch. And it was the hotel room, but it also was dark. But it was kind of almost like a fuzzy gradient, like a it was,
Oh, I know exactly what
it was
that
hard to explain.
Yep.
It was definitely the hotel room, and all
Yep.
the things were there, but it wasn't as crystal clear. But really, the weightlessness is, I think, what really stood out to me, is I can do anything I want. And at first, I do remember thinking, oh, awesome, this is like I'm dreaming a flying dream.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a cool, lucid flying dream. I was like,
Yep.
oh, I'll go with it,
Yep.
whatever. And so I start kind of bouncing around the hotel room and even doing flips, almost like you see astronauts flipping around in space.
No joke.
It was amazing.
But was it like you were in zero gravity and it was just the inertia of you floating around that was making you do somersaults, or could you control it?
I could control it.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, and I could like bounce on the bed. I can literally jump and hit the ceiling. I can literally do somersaults repeatedly. I mean, I was like throwing giant somersaults through the room
Wow.
and turning multiple times.
Wow.
I remember feeling very comfortable. It was probably part of the floating, but I just felt like, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I must be having an awesome dream. And I gradually started to realize this doesn't seem like a dream at all.
And so you could feel, because to me, the only way for you to think that it was real is that you could still feel like centrifugal force, like you're spinning and you can feel like the blood rushing up or
And
something
wind.
like and wind.
And yeah, I could still feel like I was making wind happen.
No joke.
Which is, I don't know if that's normal or not. I have no idea.
Are there any particulars about like, this is how I knew it wasn't a dream?
The only thing I can say is when I finally woke up or came to, I remembered I was laying on the bed and I remember thinking, I was awake this whole time. What just happened?
Oh, so you thought you were awake? Kind of.
I thought it was a fun dream, but then when I woke up, I was like, I don't feel like I went to sleep. What just happened? So I knew it was a strange feeling then. Just, whenever you wake up from a dream, you're like, oh, I was just dreaming.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that way. And I thought that was really bizarre because I don't remember falling asleep. And I thought I was awake this whole time. It doesn't feel like I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Or was dreaming.
Oh,
It felt like that really just happened.
Yep.
In reality.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so that was what stuck out to me as being such a strange thing because I've had so many lucid dreams or dreams you can control. And whenever you wake up, there is just always something that's a little off.
Yeah. Yep.
You're like, I thought I was in the hotel room, but it really was not the same hotel room. Or, there's always something.
There was a giant giraffe in the middle of the hotel room.
Right. Or some guy was knocking at the door and that didn't happen. It was that kind of thing. Whereas this felt like, no, it just feels like I've been here this whole time and totally normal.
So, all right. So first of all, awesome and amazing. Did you, a lot of people when they leave their body, right, they can turn around and see themselves. Didn't happen with you?
Never saw myself.
Okay. Did you even bother to look?
No.
Okay. So you could have been there laying down.
It's possible, but I didn't notice.
Okay. Gotcha. So,
right.
So let's step back and let's see. Because for me, like I have to, like some people do it by accident. You're one of these people.
Yeah.
I have to will myself into doing it. Like it's this whole routine where you pull in astral energy and you start to vibrate and you start to hear buzzing and static, and then you have this barrier that you break through, kind of thing. Was there anything like that with you?
Not this time.
Okay.
Future times were not as exciting as this, but I experienced a little bit of that.
Okay.
This is 20 plus years ago, and at the time, I had never heard of astral projection.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this was even a thing. So I just kept thinking that these were very bizarre lucid dreams or
Gotcha.
situations, and I knew they were different, but I had no idea why or how. And again, I wasn't going to go telling a bunch of people about it because they're going to be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. You're, the thing I'm dealing with now is like everything is demons. Like if you approach a Christian about any of this stuff, they're like, witchcraft, demons, like blah, blah, blah.
Which I think, unfortunately, it's just a natural thing that happens in the human body to a lot of people. And when people hear about something they're afraid of, they label it as something bad.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of people, they do this like every freaking night and they can't help it. It's like...
That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, so now that I've gone on that tangent, let's, you said there was a couple others, right?
There was one more.
Okay.
Which was the least successful of all of them. So, again, the first two, I had no idea what it even was.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to me being probably later in my 20s, maybe like 27, 28. And I was driving home from somewhere late at night, and I happened to be listening to Art Bell.
Your conductor, Art Bell, will punch your ticket when you call.
They were doing like reruns in Austin Mist.
Yep.
Used to always listen to that, and so I'm sure that the AM radio was on, and I turned it on. I was like, oh, I'll just listen. And they were doing a show on astral projection.
This audience is really wild, as am I might add, about OBEs.
I was just listening.
Well, I'm pretty excited about it, too.
And they had a guy on that I guess did it a lot.
Oh, definitely. You can go anywhere you can focus your consciousness on.
And he started describing the sensations and what happened and what it looked like and what it felt like. And it like hit me like a ton of bricks that I was like, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
what happened. That was what happened to me. That was those weird dreams that I thought I had.
If you can focus your consciousness, you can go there.
Yeah, so that was the first time I thought, oh my gosh, that's a real thing. And I went home and I did some research online of my own. And so I started trying to do it very unsuccessfully.
Okay.
And there was only one time I got it to work at all. And what I decided was I'm an evidence-based person. So whatever it is, I need to find evidence.
Yes.
And so my thought was, I'll go visit my best friend who lives in a different state at her house that I've never been to. And let's see if I can collect any kind of data, something near her house. And I can ask her, hey, do you have this ice cream shop next to your house? Something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I followed some tutorial that I found online, which is hilarious. And I'm sure it told me to lay a certain way and, fall asleep in a certain way and then try to sit up, I think is one of the things that, like, once you feel like you're falling asleep, you feel like something's pulling you up out, or you try to sit up with your brain but not with your body.
Yep.
Things like that. And I think I tried it. It was not an easy thing to just float up out. And I didn't feel like that. I just gotta sit up really hard, but without actually doing it. That's a strange thing. And it did work. I do know there was a slight humming. And I remember very quickly seeing our dresser, because I was right next to my bed where I had been sleeping, and I did look at like the door and the dresser and the carpet, and it was that weird fuzzy grayscale kind of look. And that's how I kind of thought, okay, I did it, because I've seen that before. And then I was like, okay, I did it, so now I've got to go, because I said I was going to go find my friend's house. And then it was just like snap in the air. Kind of flying out of the house.
You flew out of your house?
Yes. I remember feeling wind. Very windy. I could feel it in my ears. I could hear it in my ears. But perfect temperature. Like, I wasn't cold. The wind didn't feel chilly. It felt like perfect.
Wow.
And I remember being in the sky very fast, though. So I didn't really feel like I was slowly looking at stars or anything magical. It was just kind of like, we're flying, we're going. And then it kind of gradually, I got too excited.
Yeah.
That's what was, I was like, I think I'm actually making this work. And then I switched over into a regular dream. It was gone, poof.
So that was my friend. We're going to call her Becky. Okay, her examples of the astral projection experiences that she's had in her life. And I wanted to start the series off with her because, to me, she represents the person who comes about this in a natural way. A lot of people, I'm kind of looking at you, turbocharged Christians out there. A lot of people look at astral projection as demonic and like sorcery and stuff like that. And they say, you shouldn't do it. Well, what do we say to those people who do it by accident? Like, they can't help but do it. They do it naturally. Granted, Becky's last example there was one where she induced it herself. But, a lot of people have these experiences completely naturally and can't help it. In fact, a lot of people are afflicted by it. They can't have a normal sleep at night without flying out of their body. Like, they would much rather stay in their body. So it's believe it or not, it's a natural thing to happen. And so I wanted to start off this series about astral projection with her story because it's natural to her and it's important to hear that. And although Becky didn't, go flying around the world, I always talk about going to the Colosseum at Rome or seeing the dinosaurs or zipping around the Milky Way or, seeing the rings of Saturn. She didn't do like whiz bang amazing stuff like that, y'all. But I wanted to start us off with something that gets our feet wet. Okay, because I'm going to be interviewing people here in a little bit who have gone places that you'll never imagine. Okay. And granted, I'm still dealing with the 1 out of every 10 people that I know, right? So I'm limited to the set of a few people that I know that have these out-of-body experiences. But we're going to be covering the whole gambit from people who do it naturally, like we just covered, people who do it intentionally, people who have gone beyond the astral, okay, and also including people who have actually died, okay, and had true near-death experiences. And so we're going to continue the series with those different stories, and we're going to kind of bring it to a closure with my own stories, and then also factoring in some theories and stuff I have about the legitimacy, the realness of the astral projection experience. So for those of you who are hung up on the fact that my friend's experience kind of devolved into a lucid dream and went, from astral projection to a dream, don't get hung up on that. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, y'all. There is an unbelievably amazing explanation as to why that can happen. And it involves a really trippy dream that I had that started with an astral projection experience and ended in a lucid dream. That's going to blow your mind, and it's going to kind of blow the lid off and the roof off of your idea of what this all is. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. But then also, of course, later on, we're going to jump back into the main through line, the main plot of the main journey through the Pantheos that I'm on right now. So we're dabbling in this astral projection thing for a little bit because it's part of the journey, but we're going to continue on. So stick with us, and I'll see you on the next episode.